Have you ever caught yourself looking at other people's lives and wondering why yours seems slower, more uncertain, somehow smaller? Sometimes all it takes is a single scroll through social media to feel that quiet sting of comparison. It doesn't scream, but it lingers, whispering that everyone else seems to be winning. Except you. But what if that comparison wasn't truth but illusion? What if the problem wasn't your path, but the eyes with which you see it? Stoicism invites us to trade the mirror of others for the mirror of the soul, to stop measuring life by external victories, and to begin measuring it by the calm we cultivate within. In this journey, I want to walk with you. Together, we'll reflect on how to abandon the habit of comparing, how to let go of the need for approval, and how to rediscover balance in the silence within. But before we begin, take a brief moment, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell. Here every week we share reflections that nourish your spirit, strengthen your mind, and guide you toward peace and meaning. There's a quiet truth few dare to admit. We all want to be seen. We all seek reflection, the validation of our existence through the eyes of another. It's human. But when that desire becomes dependence, something within us begins to fracture. We start living to please, not to be. We perform for applause and forget the voice that lives inside. The Stoic sage seeks not recognition, but coherence. He knows applause is wind, but inner peace is root. And when you learn to validate yourself from within, something shifts. Solitude stops hurting, silence becomes refuge, and the opinions of others lose the power to wound. Do you sometimes feel you're never doing enough? That no matter what you achieve, it still isn't sufficient? That feeling is born from the illusion of perfection the modern world sells. We are shown results, not processes, triumphs, not scars. And so you compare your reality to someone else's highlight reel, unaware of the storms behind their smiles. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control the world around us, only how we respond to it. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. You don't need to be admired. You need to be authentic. Perfection is a golden cage. Authenticity, an open sky. When you begin to accept your flaws with compassion, the weight of judgment dissolves. Every mistake becomes a teacher. Every stumble a sign of growth. Falling is not failure. It's life speaking in its most honest language. And life always whispers wisdom through what hurts, through what challenges, through what asks for patience. If these words resonate with you, leave a comment below that says, "I choose my own path." It's not just a phrase, and it's a promise to yourself, a reminder that life isn't a race. It's a conscious walk through time. Patience, that forgotten virtue that turns chaos into wisdom. To be patient is not to surrender, but to trust. Time doesn't obey anxiety. It blooms in the rhythm of inner maturity. Some things only grow in silence and waiting. Haste is the enemy of peace, and those who rush miss the beauty of being. How many times have you tried to control what cannot be controlled? People, outcomes, circumstances. Control is a beautiful illusion. It looks like strength, but it exhausts. When you realize you can't shape the external world, you discover where your true power lies within. You can't choose what happens, but you can choose who you become in response. That's why Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to us, but how we respond to what happens that matters." To accept this truth is to free yourself from invisible chains and breathe again. Part of that freedom comes from learning to say enough. Boundaries are not walls. They are acts of self-respect. Saying no when your soul needs it is not rejection. It's love. You don't have to carry the weight of the world to prove your worth. Taking care of yourself first is not selfish, it's balance. Only those who are at peace with themselves can bring peace to others. We live in an age of digital applause and human silence. We confuse visibility with connection. We believe numbers measure worth, but social media doesn't embrace you. A million likes can't replace a genuine conversation. Stoicism reminds us, what truly matters is not being seen, but being real. Turn off the noise even for a moment. Look at the sky. Feel the air. Return to the present. The world runs fast, but you are allowed to stand still and breathe. Life unfolds in this very moment, not in comparison, not on a screen, not in the future. Every time you compare yourself, you steal a moment of presence. The time you spend looking outward is time you lose looking inward. And it's inside where the real answers live. No praise can fill the emptiness left by self-forgetfulness. Peace arrives when you stop competing and start cooperating with your own destiny. Look around you. No one is standing where you stand. Every life is a different map, filled with its own turns, hills, and silences. To compare is to try to measure infinity. Your pace isn't slower, it's yours. Every seed blooms in its own season. The oak does not envy the flower. Both make the forest beautiful. Perhaps you still feel the breath of failure on your neck, that subtle whisper asking, what if you're not enough? But failure is not an enemy. It's a messenger. It arrives to show you where you still need to heal, where you still need to grow. To fail is not to fall. It is to pause, to learn, to reshape yourself. Every time you rise, fear loses its strength. And in that small, silent act of standing again, your true power is born. Failure does not destroy the brave. It sculpts them. It strips away pride, it humbles, it clarifies. It teaches you to begin again with greater wisdom and softer eyes. When you welcome it as part of the journey, you realize there are no real failures, only chapters, each one essential to your becoming. If these reflections are touching your heart, leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You never know. Today you might be the quiet reason someone else finds peace. Stoicism teaches that wisdom does not grow in calm seas, but in storms. Peace is not the absence of pain, but mastery over it. Nothing is permanent. Not joy, not sadness, not uncertainty. Everything changes. Everything flows. Everything passes. And within that impermanence lies the beauty of being alive. Learning to let go is not surrender, it's understanding. Nothing truly belongs to us forever. People change, paths diverge, certainties dissolve. But as long as your mind remains steady, your soul remains free. When you embrace change as a natural law, anxiety loses its grip. You stop fearing endings, because you finally see them as beginnings in disguise. And slowly, between the light and the shadow, you begin to see. You don't need to chase anything. Life becomes lighter when you stop trying to control every outcome. There is beauty in the unexpected, wisdom in uncertainty, and grace in the unplanned. The wise smile at chaos, for they know that even the unknown has a purpose. Each day is an invitation to rise, wiser, calmer, truer. You don't have to erase the past to start again. You only need to face it without bitterness. That is the highest form of freedom, to look back without guilt and forward without fear. The world will tell you that you matter for what you achieve. Stoicism whispers that you matter for who you are. And who you are is not defined by titles or applause. It's defined by the honesty with which you meet yourself. Maybe no one will applaud your process, but that's all right. Real growth happens in silence. Fruits make no sound when they ripen. They simply appear when the season is right. Your inner work is invisible, but one day it will shine without you saying a word. Remember this. You are not what others think of you. You are not your mistakes or your doubts. You are every step you've taken in spite of fear. Every quiet moment of courage when no one was watching. You are the echo of everything you've overcome. Look within. There lies the refuge you've been seeking outside. Calm is not something you find. It's something you grow. And it begins the moment you stop running from yourself. Breathe, there is no rush. The road does not demand speed, only presence. The world will keep turning even if you stop for a while. And in that stillness you will see, life is not measured by the number of steps, but by the depth of each one. Perhaps you don't have all the answers, and that's okay. Stoicism teaches that wisdom is not knowing everything, but making peace with what cannot be known. To live with open questions is the art of those who have befriended mystery. When you feel lost, return to the beginning. Remember who you are, what you love, and why you walk. You don't need to compare because no one can walk your path but you. Every soul has its own rhythm, its own pulse, its own sacred design. And though our roads may cross, the destination of each heart is written in a different language. Now that we've walked this path together, take a breath. Feel the silence between these words. Gratitude, that's where peace begins. Everything you need to live with serenity is already inside you. You don't have to become more, you only have to be. The wise do not seek to control the world, but to understand it. They do not seek to win, but to live in harmony. And peace cannot be conquered. It must be cultivated with patience, with reflection, with love. So when you look again at the lives of others, do it without envy, without comparison. Appreciate what you see, but don't measure yourself by it. You have your own rhythm, your own purpose, your own sacred story. Do not measure yourself by the yardstick of others. Measure yourself by the truth in your heart. In the end, the goal is not to be admired, it is to be at peace. Not to shine brighter than others, but to shine from within. And when you do, the world is no longer a battlefield, but a place of quiet wonder. So walk your path, calmly, firmly, lovingly. Let go of the noise, the rush, the doubt. Freedom is not something you chase outside. It awakens inside. And when you understand that, you'll know there is no greater victory than being at peace with who you are. If this message touched you, leave a comment below and tell me which part spoke to your heart. And don't forget to subscribe, so we can keep growing together on this journey of self-knowledge and serenity. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, practice silence, patience, and the quiet freedom of simply being yourself.